This meeting is now being recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Week 11 Southland Conference Football Coaches Conference call with the media. I'm Todd Lamb, Assistant Commissioner for Communications at the Southland Conference and the moderator for today's call. I want to remind everyone that we are recording this call and we are streaming it live on southland.org and the Southland Digital Network, including the iPhone and Android apps for the conference. I'd like to go over a few guidelines for today's call. We do restrict the call to official news gathering media members only. The general public, including fans and fan websites, are prohibited from participating during the live call. Do not place the call on hold or use the speakerphone function at any time while on today's call. We have muted all lines in advance or at the start of the call. If you do have a question or coaches to speak during your allotted time, please press *6 to unmute your line. That is the same command to mute your line again. Media, prior to asking a question, we just ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization, and then any violation of these guidelines may lead to immediate disconnection from the call. I want to go over last week's results. Sam Houston State beat Stephen F. Austin 56-49. Lamar beat Nichols 56-34. Southeastern Louisiana won at McNeese State 41-7, and Northwestern State beat Central Arkansas 31-28. And keeping an eye on future Southland Conference teams, Abilene Christian had an open date. Houston Baptist beat Texas College 49-7, and Incarnate Word won at McMurray 47-43. This week, all 8 Southland teams are in action, as well as all 3 future members. Nichols visits Sam Houston State at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Lamar is at Northwestern State Saturday at 3 p.m. That game will be televised by the Southland Conference Television Network. Also at 3 p.m., McNeese State is at Stephen F. Austin. And then at 7, Southeastern Louisiana is at Central Arkansas. That is on ESPN3, again, 7 o'clock. Tune in for that one. Future league members, Abilene Christian and Incarnate Word play in San Antonio Saturday at 2. And Houston Baptist plays host to Texas A&M Commerce at 3. Looking at the polls that came out yesterday, the Southland has 4 teams appearing in the polls again this week. Sam Houston State is now the Southland's top-ranked team, checking in at number 6 in the Sports Network poll and number 7 in the coaches poll. McNeese State slipped to number 11 in the Sports Network poll and 13th in the coaches poll, and Southeastern Louisiana climbed to 16 in the Sports Network poll and 17 in the coaches poll. Central Arkansas is tied for 24th in the coaches poll and receiving votes in the Sports Network poll. Last week's Players of the Week on offense, Sam Houston State quarterback Brian Bell. He was 19 of 29. For a career-best 339 yards and 4 touchdowns, and leading Sam Houston State to a 56-49 win over Stephen F. Austin. Bell is 36-10 as a starter and ranks number 10 on the Southland's all-time passing list with 7,835 yards. Defensive Player of the Week honors go to Theo Alexander from Southeastern Louisiana. He accounted for 2 of the Lions' 3 turnovers in their 41-7 win over McNeese. He recovered a fumble to set up the game's first score and also intercepted a pass in the fourth quarter. Special Teams Player of the Week, Kerry Fortson from Nichols. He had a 94-yard kick return for a touchdown in the second quarter Saturday at Lamar. The touchdown return was the first for Nichols this season and the first since 2011. That will finish off our news and notes. We'll move on to the coaches portion of the call today. Coach Conk, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Todd.
All right. Joined now by Central Arkansas head coach Clint Conk. Last week, the Bears lost at Northwestern State 31-28, and this week play host to Southeastern Louisiana Saturday at 7 p.m. on ESPN3. The Bears are 5-4 overall, 2-2 in the conference. Coach, talk a little bit about the game last week and then what you're expecting from the Lions on Saturday.
First, I want to congratulate Coach Thomas and his staff and team for the win. Certainly, they played very efficiently on Saturday night. It's a disappointing loss for us. We didn't do a very good job with situational football. And by that, third down conversions, we were 5 for 5 in the red zone, I believe, but ended up having to settle for 2 field goals, which, obviously 3-point game could have been the difference in the game as well. And then we lost the turnover battle 2-0, and they played very efficiently, and we didn't. And very proud, though, how hard we competed, given our numbers and so forth. But, at the end of the day, again, we expect to compete well at home or on the road, and we just didn't get the job done. And a great deal of credit goes to Coach Thomas and his staff and his football team. Don't have time to sit around and feel sorry for yourself. You've got, what I mentioned yesterday is one of the hottest football teams in the country coming in, an extremely talented, very deep football team, a very mature football team, very athletic, very big, very good in all 3 phases of the football game. And it'll take a tremendous effort, an effort like we haven't seen this year for our football team to have a chance even at home this week against Southeastern. So we're certainly excited to be at home. We're playing a great football team, and they're playing very well. They're very healthy with their frontline guys, at least. Looks like same guys starting this week as started the last several weeks, and quarterback's playing well, and they're just weapons all over the football field. Running backs, receivers, defense is very active, very talented secondary, very big and very physical. So you can see why they are where they are, and the players they've added to their roster from last year. Obviously, those numbers have significantly added to their front line and to their depth. So it'll be a huge challenge for our team.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Clint Conk, the head coach at Central Arkansas. Media, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line, and we do ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization.
Morning, Coach. This is John down in Hammond.
Hey, John.
I guess they give you a lot to look at, but I'm just wondering, with a team that's balanced as that, I guess you have to approach it like everything else. You start with stopping the run, but, they're so diverse. It looks like a major challenge.
No question. I mean, I think regardless of your opponent, you try to make teams as one-dimensional as you can. And certainly I think that they're very balanced, and you got to attempt to try to stop the run and put them in uncomfortable situations, which has been very difficult for a lot of the opponents that they've played this year. They moved the football on everybody. They've ran the ball with some success on everyone, and then certainly Bennett's just a special athlete. I mean, big, strong, can run, can throw. I think he played like 20 games at the University of Oregon. Last time I checked, they have pretty good players there at that position over the years, and he certainly, is an impact player, and everything starts with him. As far as being a dual threat, a guy that can play action pass, get on the perimeter. I mean, he's a quality football player, and teams that are going to challenge for conference titles and play at the national level, they've got to have quality players at that position, and experienced players and guys that are confident in what they're doing and playing healthy and playing fast. And Bennett's doing that. Of course, everything else stems off of that, both in the run game and the pass game. But yeah, you got to try to contain the run.
I think there's been a lot of talk about Brian and the different skill weapons that they have, but I think maybe the key to this run for them is what they've been able to do on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. What are you seeing happening up there?
Big, strong, physical, get their hands on you. They don't miss many assignments. They do a good job of covering you up and moving you, and then they put you on the ground as well. So, I mean, it's just deep at running back, big physical offensive line. I mean, there's players everywhere, and got guys can run by you outside. If you get nosy, and certainly, very, very dynamic and very diverse attack.
I know you guys are working with some new quarterbacks, and you kind of had some fits and starts, some good moments and some bad. This is going to be an interesting test for those guys up against this kind of defense with the myriad things that they do. That should be a challenge in preparation.
Oh, absolutely. Again, we'll have to, and again, we're pretty thin, but hey, we're gonna coach them up and try to get them in the right spots and try to make plays. Again, though, it starts with trying to, they've got some speed rushers and they've got some pocket pushers and combinations of both, and so we've got to try to create some space and throw the football and win a bunch of one-on-one matchups and be able to handle their blitz packages. So it's just an enormous challenge, and I wouldn't, if we had every one of our players healthy and a very veteran football team, this would still be an enormous challenge. So we'll have to have a great week of preparation, and more importantly, we need to come to the game and to practice with the right attitude about playing one of the best teams in the country.
I was going to say, once you get to that second loss in the league, things get kind of interesting for your team. It'll be a challenge for your guys in that respect to bounce back and against a good team.
Yeah, I think they're a pretty resilient group, though. I mean, the guys that we have left, some of them haven't been in the frying pan, quite as much. But that last week was the first loss we've had since 2010 in November, and it's a little different. And that's a credit to the kids in the program. But we do want to play well at home, and we've got 3 left and start with a nationally ranked opponent, and we've got to go on the road against a much improved Nicholls State team, and then we've got another nationally ranked opponent. So we take them one at a time and try to prepare the best we can and play well. But I think that again, we can't let adversity define who we are. We have to respond in the right way, and I'm confident that our coaches and players will do that.
Thanks, Clint.
Mm-hmm. Anything else for Clint Conk at Central Arkansas? All right, Coach. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hey, you bet.
Charlie, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, joined now by Charlie Stubbs, the head coach at Nicholls. Last week, the Colonels lost at Lamar 56-34, and this week pay a visit to Sam Houston State. That game is Saturday at 2. Nicholls is 4-5 overall, 1-3 in the conference. Coach, talk a little bit about your game last week and then what you're expecting Saturday in Huntsville.
Well, it was an exciting game. The biggest difference in the game that I saw as a coach after reviewing everything is we lost the turnover battle. Lamar did a great job protecting the football and didn't make any real mistakes. And unfortunately, we helped them out a lot by, of course, them creating turnovers. And we're moving the ball very well, against opponents, but we got to learn to finish. We got to learn to finish more often in the red zone. Just the makeup of our team right now, we're going to have to score points to win because, again, we're real thin on defense, and so the offense needs to shoulder more responsibility, and that's what I tell them all the time is that offense's job is to score and to also control time of possession while doing that. But all in all, there were some good things that came out of it for Nicholls. Our standards are improving. Our expectations are improving. We were highly disappointed We did have in the game two young men both rush for over 100 yards in a game, which is big for Nichols, and we almost had our first 300-yard passing effort. So, again, there's something to build on there. And then defensively, we did do a better job at stopping the run, but unfortunately Lamar did a very good job in their passing game, especially getting their young men out in space. And we've got to, make better tackles, of course, in the open field. And, that's fundamentals. So we got to continue to stress that. We also had some nice things happen in the special team game for us. This is the first time in our game that we made all of our PATs and our field goal attempts. So that was a plus for us at Nichols, punted the ball well. And then also we had a kickoff return, for a touchdown, and also blocked the punt, which resulted when the offense went out and drove it in on a short field. So, as a head coach here, you got to look at those kind of things, but we do just enough to get ourselves beat. But I give credit to Lamar. They had a nice plan on all three phases, and they just out-executed us that day. And then now, of course, it's very challenging in the Southland Conference to get conference wins. We know that here at Nichols. But we have three more opportunities ahead, and all of them are super football teams. And again, playing Willie's team, Sam Houston, I have utmost respect for him and what they've been able to accomplish. Again, they're a very good football team and will be highly tested again. But that's what we play for, and that's what I tell these kids. We had a super challenging non-conference schedule, playing Oregon and two other FBS opponents that were really good, and then we got the Southland Conference, which is challenging enough, but we're excited about the opportunity and try to grow, and we got a tremendous amount of young men coming back. In fact, all my quarterbacks are back, so there's a whole lot to build on. We just got to continue to fight and claw and improve.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now. For Charlie Stubbs at Nichols. Media, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line, and we do ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization. Coach, you touched on it a minute ago, but having to end the season against three ranked opponents, just talk about, obviously you're going to have your team focus one game at a time, but talk about that if you would, please.
Well, it kind of excites me, too, that the conference is so strong because, as you, after a month for us, finishing the season, you go out on the recruiting trail. And, wow, do you have something to sell in the conference, too? Because, I mentioned the non-conference games, but when you're playing in the Southland Conference, that they know at this level of football they're playing against the best. So for me, as a head coach, and then also the players, we know it's a super challenge. But the thing I look at, we're so much more competitive than we've been in the past thus far. And we've had injuries just like everybody, but we've had, when you lose Marcus Washington, our premier offensive player, to a knee injury, and we lost Davin Bovey, who was leading the conference in tackles, and he's out for the year. And we have numerous more guys out, but it's not like we just totally fall apart like in the past where we just so inept and not even playing competitive games. I feel like in the conference we have been competitive this year. And again, even in the three games that we've lost right in a row, we were competitive in those football games where it's not like always down to a play or two, but they know that Nichols you have to prepare for, and you definitely can't overlook us.
Questions for Charlie Stubbs? Coach, you also mentioned you had two 100-yard rushers against Lamar. Obviously, you knew that Figueroa was certainly capable of running the ball, but then you get Dalton Hilliard Jr. To step up and go for, I think it was 111 yards.
Right. The biggest thing 3 weeks ago when Marcus Washington was injured, and his last game was the Northwestern game, which was our first conference game, then Dalton's kind of carried the load at the running back position, and he's done very well. He's getting close to about in the conference about 90 yards a game rushing. And last game he also caught 8 passes out of the backfield. So again, he's come in and been a really good asset for our team. And then Toscani, Of course, he's taken some pounding because in our offense, the quarterback is. We have some definite design runs for him, but he's getting close to be a 1,000-yard rusher this year if we can continue to make progress. So when you can get a young guy as a sophomore quarterback to rush for 1,000 yards and maybe throw for over 1,000 yards, that's something to build on. And then, of course, we're trying to work Kalen Henderson, who was excellent quarterback for us, but he's getting spot playing time after his broken leg versus Western Michigan early in the year. So he's doing some good things. It's just he hasn't been able to recover that mobility that he once had. So, I am excited about that. I'm excited that we're able to establish the run. And again, I'm excited to see us how we progress over these next 3 weeks.
Anything else for Charlie Stubbs at Nichols? Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron, are you with us?
Hello?
Ron, hello.
Yeah, hi. This is Coach Roberts.
All right, joined now by Ron Roberts, the head coach at Southeastern Louisiana. Last week, the Lions won 41-7 at McNeese. And this week, continue on the road, playing at Central Arkansas. That game is Saturday at 7 p.m. on ESPN3. Coach, talk about your program's big win last week in Lake Charles, and then what you're expecting up in Conway on Saturday.
Well, it was a huge win for us, being not only to the conference game, national ball, but the in-state team. They're a very good football team. I was real pleased with our guys, how we came out focus-wise and executed, and how we handled our business on the whole week long. So I think we're getting a lot more mature as a ball club, and I think we're playing our best football. We're just starting to hit our best strides right now as a football team, which is what you really want. And so there was a lot of positives in that game, and a lot of guys played, and a lot of guys played well. I think we came out of the game fast. We got some, a couple turnovers early that really helped the momentum, and I think our defense, I was real pleased with them. I thought it was their best outing, obviously, of the year, and just did a really good job on a great run team and a great offensive line. And then I thought our secondary did an exceptional job of disguising coverages and moving around, and we played multiple coverages and I think they did a good job of keeping Stroud off rhythm. He's a great quarterback. And, I think he never got a chance to feel comfortable in the pocket. And I think it's great. It was a full, total team effort. Our special teams played well, and offense, defense, everybody. And so I was real pleased with that. We got a bigger one obviously this week. It's huge. We got to go up to Central Arkansas, which is obviously not a very good place to play for visitors. They got a lot of tradition. They're going to play hard. They got a good football team. They found ways to win ball games, and they lost their star player. I think they've got probably one of the better defensive lines in the conference, and I know they got some exceptional receivers, and they've just done an unbelievable job. And I think they're kind of rallying around this new quarterback, and it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a huge ball game up there at UCA.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Ron Roberts at Southeastern Louisiana.
Coach, this is Dave McCollum from Lockham Democrat in Conway, Arkansas. And I guess in one sense you obviously you want to kick off a lot during the football game, but we may be seeing maybe two of the better return units in what your guy and UCA's and FCS football. So will kickoffs be kind of exciting in this ball game?
I hope it's not for your fan. Yeah. No, obviously UCA's got an unbelievable kickoff return. They do a great job, and they make some huge plays, and not just the touchdown, the average field position they're setting up for their offense. They've done a great job lately, and Coach Conk does a great job all across the board, and their special teams are playing really well right now. It's going to be a huge challenge for our kickoff team to go down there and place the number one unit, obviously, in the conference, and we're going to have to, get a total effort, but they got to do a great job because they do a really good job of blocking it. And, they got a lot of athletes on that unit, and not just the returners. A lot of the guys up front, they're doing a excellent job of blocking and getting a hat on a hat and keeping it sustained. So, we know that there's going to be huge challenges, not just that unit. There's all across the board. UCA is a great team, and we have a lot of respect for them. They're a great opponent, and they do a great job. They're very well coached, and they're going to play extremely hard, and we know they play harder when they're on the stripes.
And yeah, of course, they're coming off a loss that puts them really their backs against the wall. You're coming off a great victory. What's your it's contrasting elements last week? What's your biggest concern about this game?
Well, again, they like I said, the defense is very good. I think those front guys are exceptional. They've got like the 1 and 3, and the two ends are 1 and 3 in the conference in sacks. They've created a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. Like their number one defense in the rush defense. They played exceptionally well. That's a huge challenge itself. And then offensively, they have found a way, and every week they're finding a way to find their rhythm and score points. And they found, I think you see them go 66, points 2 weeks ago, and then last week they get whatever it was 20, 31 or whatever. So they found ways to score points. I think the offense is getting better every week. I told our team, listen, we're sitting in the same spot we were last year. We went in there and we lost to UCA at our place. So we got to go in there and we got to play our best football. And we're very well at that.
Other questions for Ron Roberts at Southeastern? Coach, talk a little bit, if you would, about having to play these 3 ranked teams back-to-back weeks. What it says for the conference, and obviously with your ranking continuing to climb up in the polls.
Yeah, obviously this is a huge, tough stretch for us. And you got to go on the road to McNeese, and turn around, got to go on the road again to UCA. And it's great, obviously, the notoriety of Southland Conference getting this year. That's awesome. It's a great conference. It's one of the best in the country, and you know that you're going to see some of the best football there is in the nation. FCS football playing week in, week out. There's a lot of people in this game right now that they got 2 losses in this conference. They're scary football teams, and can beat anybody. And that's the thing that I said along with it. Anybody in this conference can beat anybody on any given day. And it's very tough to go on the road in this conference and get a W. And that's just for the history and tradition of it. You look at it, and it's very hard for people to go and go on the road and win in this thing. So we know we got to play well, and we know we got to overcome some of their fan base. I know it's going to be a packed house. And like I said, they have that tradition on the stripes, and they're very proud of that. And so we know we got to go up there and play really well.
Anything else for Ron Roberts at Southeastern?
Yeah, Coach, this is Alex Hickey from the Lake Charles American Press. I was wondering what's the key to, obviously keeping the momentum going as this winning streak builds, but not letting the emotion get too high after obviously a huge win that puts you in control of your own destiny. And how do you ride the line between confidence and making sure it doesn't get to overconfidence?
Well, I think we saw Sunday coming into film is that we still made a lot of mistakes, and there was mistakes that were made that maybe that last week they didn't capitalize on, but they were there, and we've got to eliminate those, and we got to get better. And we know in this conference that, like I said, we've tried to preach that from day one. Is that in this conference, you've got to play your best every Saturday. And if you don't do that, you're going to get beat. You're going home with a loss. I mean, that's just it. There's nobody in this conference that they have tradition. They're going to play exceptionally hard. They're going to play well. There's great coaching. You've got to be prepared to make adjustments, and you've got to be prepared to, for the teams you face, you're going to see their best football every Saturday. And I don't think there's anything about us being overconfident or any of that kind of stuff. It was a big win for us. But like I said before, last year's time, we beat McNeese, and then we go in and we lose to UCA, and we lose to Sam, and we're out of the picture, and we're sitting home with nothing. And so we got to stay focused, and we got to go out there, and we got to play better.
All right, thank you.
Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Jay, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, joined now by Jay Thomas, the head coach of Northwestern State. Last week, the Demons beat Central Arkansas 31-28, and this week play host to Lamar Saturday at 3 p.m. on the Southland Conference Television Network. Northwestern State 4-5 overall, 1-3 in the conference. Coach, talk about your win last week over Central Arkansas, and then what you're expecting this week against Lamar.
Well, obviously we're very happy, very proud of our team, and to be able to come up with a win, and really proud for our seniors to be able to get a win. But also, got a lot of respect for Coach Conk and what he's done, and his staff and what they've done with their team there, and dealing with a number of key guys being out. They've done a tremendous job. They're still playing high quality football, and it was really a good game, and we came up on the upper end on the turnover part of the game, so that really helped us. And I thought our defense did a nice job controlling a very potent offense, very talented receivers, and just trying to keep it corralled. It was a big chore. And then our offense was able to produce some points when we needed to against a highly ranked defense in the red zone. So that was very encouraging by our offense to be able to get that done. I thought our quarterback, Zach Atkins, really managed the game well for us and did a nice job throughout the game. But going into this week, glad to be back at home, have another home contest here. Lamar coming in, and Coach Woodard and staff, man, they've done a great job. But if you look at it, they've been in a lot of close ball games. Looking back early in the year, playing Louisiana Tech really close, in a game they had a chance to win. Really played Sam really close. And, it's just, they've been really, really tight games, and they play really good on defense, and got a number of guys, safeties, Allen and Davis are playing really good, and linebacker Anthony Beard is really showing up all over the tape, and defensive line's playing very aggressive. Jesse Dixon is a guy that's playing really, really good for them, and multiple looks defensively give you a lot of challenges on offense, and then of course their offense is it's very efficient, and they do have the big playmakers, and they've got it's Caleb Berry is playing very, very well for them. He's very steady in the pocket, and he can extend plays, and been very impressed watching him play. Mark Roberts is a guy that is making a ton of huge plays for him, but they have a lot of other receivers out there that can also, when they catch the ball, they can turn it into big plays. So, it's another huge challenge for us, and Southland Conference, it didn't change week in and week out. It's great coaches. Coach Woodard, he has a great staff there. He got a bunch of great players, and so it's still going to be one of those you got to bring your best game. Every weekend. We'll have to try to do it again this weekend.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Jay Thomas at Northwestern State.
Hey, Coach, Matt Vines from the Shreveport Times.
Matt.
Northwestern and Lamar seem pretty similar in the fact that you played some pretty competitive games early in conference play, but both teams broke through this past week. Do you see similarities just in that regard?
We do. There's a lot of parity in both teams. And, being able to put those things together and being able to finish games, very, very similar. You're right. There is. And both teams had an opportunity this past weekend to break through. So I think it's really a good matchup this weekend. Because of that, they really have a lot of talent. Lamar has a lot of talent across the board. Man, they're doing a great job coaching. So, it's going to be a difficult challenge no matter.
And then you mentioned that it's still miscues there in the Central Arkansas game, but to be able to overcome those miscues where in past games, maybe those stretches have cost games. What type of growth did you see specifically last week in that regard?
Well, I thought that, in our kicking game, we played much more efficient in our kicking game. We did a much better job there. Didn't allow the huge big play to break our backs. Obviously young man from Central Arkansas, man, he's unbelievable when he gets the ball in his hands, and we were able to. He almost got out of there one time, but I thought that our kickers kicked the ball much better. Thought that, if you're in a man coverage concept, you're going to have to do a good job of staying with your guys, and certainly we'll have to rally to him at some point when he breaks the line of scrimmage. But I think that you really have to hone in on your coverage. Whether you're playing zone concept or man concept, you really have to do a good job with him because he's very aware of finding open guys, and then the receivers are doing great jobs. So once he gets out of the pocket of scrambling and converting those not busted plays, but obviously a scramble play into a big play. And so we're going to do a good job of keeping him in the pocket, obviously, and trying to disrupt some timing as much as we can.
And Coach, talk a little bit about what you need to do to be successful on the other side of the ball with your offense against their defense, which is like yours in the in the top 3 ranked in the South.
Well, yeah, our offense has been a process. It's year one, and we just got to stay with our knitting, so to speak, what we've been doing, and
they were more prepared than we were, and did a great job. We just didn't do a whole lot the way we had planned on doing it, and unfortunately we got behind, and then continued to get behind. So, but we'll move forward, and we have to go to Nacogdoches this week to play Stephen F. Austin. Very dangerous, scary football team. I mean, what they can do offensively. I mean, it's crazy what they've been able to do this year. The numbers they put up, the amount of points they scored, and Brady Attaway, can really throw it. Obviously, I think their offensive line is really good this year, athletic. Anytime. And then you couple that with the fact, they have a really good running back in the backfield in Gus Johnson. So, they've done a tremendous job defensively. They lead the league in takeaways with 20. They've always been able to pressure the passer with their front guys, which they can do again this year. So, going to Nacogdoches, we haven't done so well there the last couple times, and we certainly a good football team. Senior night for Brady and some of those guys. We know they'll be really excited to play, and it's going to be a tough test for us.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Matt Viator at McNeese. Media, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line, and we do ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization.
Hey, Matt, this is Kevin Gore at Nacogdoches.
How you doing, Kevin?
Doing good. I'm kind of looking at this game with maybe y'all's offense, kind of how y'all go against Stephen F's defense, and versatility is kind of y'all's ally. It seems like, just looking at the stats, you guys in Southeastern both have real versatile offenses. So just talk about y'all's aim to create versatility in your program on offense and how y'all are doing this year.
Well, I mean, we certainly tried to do that. We weren't real versatile last week, obviously, but that's what we try to do. I mean, we try to run it in, throw it, and try to have some balance in what we do. We've been playing 3 or 4 tailbacks a game, and we usually play 6 or 7 wideouts, and try to get guys more by committee, and do different things. So when we can do that successfully, Kevin, we've had a little success, but unfortunately, there's been 2 games, Southeastern and Northern Iowa, which we just didn't get a lot going, with any of it, and never got any rhythm, any consistency, and a lot of it was had to do with our 2 opponents also, but we certainly have to do better than what we did last week.
Talk a little bit about your defense. I know that you talked about SFA's offense, and your defense has given up some big points in some games. In some games, you guys have played well on defense, but that may be a key matchup too.
Oh, certainly it is. I agree with you. There's some games that we've played really good, and there's some games that we haven't played quite as good as what we would like. But I don't care, who we have. I mean, when you go up against an offense like Stephen F., I mean, that's going to be a challenge, tremendous challenge. But hopefully we can, try to get, somewhat pressure on Brady. It's hard to sack him because he just gets rid of the football, obviously. But try to make him a little bit uncomfortable, give him some different looks, and
and try to keep things in front of us. And, hopefully we can do that and, try to minimize a little bit. I mean, you're not going to stop them, obviously, but try to minimize a little bit of what they've been able to do.
Kind of looks like maybe the last man standing in this game. I mean, going to be a lot of points and a lot of fun. And, I mean, it's just kind of how the Southland's going, and it's especially with Stephen F. Gaines.
Well, every game, I mean, is in the Southland is exciting, I think, regardless of what the points are. There, everything is so competitive. But, like I said, what scares you about Stephen F. is, they when you watch them on tape, and, it just kind of, to me, it comes down to their turnovers. When they don't turn it over, I mean, they're certainly going to be hard to beat, in any stretch. And, you go back to Montana State, look at some of those games when they were able to play a little bit cleaner in terms of the turnovers. I mean, obviously they came out, a winner, and to play like they did last week, and what was it, 6 turnovers, I think?
Right.
Committed last week, 6-1, and, still almost, still had a chance to win the football game. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right.
Hey, Coach, this is John Lenz in Hammond.
Yeah, John.
Hey, when you watch a team scout them out and look at them on film and all that, there's always things that you see a little bit different. In Southeastern's case, seeing them in person, what did you learn about them that maybe you didn't know from watching them on film? I mean, did anything show up there?
I think they kind of came as advertised. Like I said last week, they're big, they're athletic, they're definitely fast. When you look at the guys, especially, I think probably, the running backs are, I think they were fast, but they're really fast. 1 and 2, and those guys they play back there, I mean, they can really motor around pretty good. And several times I thought we had them in certain cases, and they just outran us. And but really everything else I think was kind of what we expected. Their defense is long and athletic, and create problems. So it kind of came as advertised. I just don't think we did.
I'm just curious if you had any kind of comparison between them and Northern Iowa. Just trying to get a read on teams that are outside this area. Those are 2 teams that obviously you had trouble against both of them. But how does Southeastern compare with a Northern Iowa type team?
That's a good question, really, because offensively they're different. Northern Iowa has that big tailback and quarterback that's more stationary than obviously Bennett is. And but defensively they're pretty comparable, in their multiple odd stuff and what they do. And I think the length of both the defenses was really good when you look at them. I mean, Southeastern is like Northern Iowa is really, I always use the term long, but even Southeastern's DBs are 6'3" and 6'2", 6'1". I mean, they just have a lot of length everywhere.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, John.
Anything else for Coach Viator? Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
You bet. Ray, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, joined now by Lamar head coach Ray Woodard. Last week, the Cardinals beat Nichols 56-34, and this week pay a visit to Northwestern State Saturday at 3 p.m. on the Southland Conference Television Network. Lamar is 4-5 overall, 1-3 in the conference. Coach, talk a little bit about your win last week over Nichols, and then what you're expecting Saturday up in Natchitoches.
It's a very strange weekend here in Beaumont. It's never boring down here, but the game was a seesaw game. We came out with lots of energy and offensively really got off to a good start and kind of had control of the game. And then back came Nichols, their return man on the kickoff. We couldn't get a hand on him. It was one of the best kickoff returns I've ever seen and kept them in the ball game. But we went at halftime 35-17 and felt really good about where we were. To Nichols' credit, they came out in the third quarter and really outplayed us the entire quarter. Got back in the game, and then start the fourth quarter, you look up, it's a one-score game, and I said, well, here we go. And the difference in the game in the fourth quarter was the 3 big turnovers. We got 2 big fumbles and an interception for a touchdown, and that was really the difference. We held on to the ball. Caleb Berry and the offense did a good job of not giving them the football and controlling things in the fourth quarter. and we played closer to error-free in the fourth quarter than they did, and that was really the difference in the ball game. And very proud of our team, the way we hung in there and fought, and it was a win that we all needed, and I'm certainly proud of our team's effort. And then going forward, Northwest, first thing I look at when I look at them on film is up front, and they're very good up front on both sides of football, very physical. I like their team. I like the way Coach Jay and Thomas has put it together. They're very physical. Offensively, they'll try to run the ball down your throat if they can, and play action. And quarterback Zach Atkins is getting better every week, and like he said, it looks to me like they're adding more and more to their offense as they gain confidence, and they're certainly going to be confident after as well as they played last week. Defensively, their secondary is they come up and challenge you. They're smart. They're experienced back there. I really like the way a couple of their linebackers are playing. Patrick Black is all over the place. I really like the way he's playing. They got a freshman defensive end, redshirt freshman Jamarcus Marshall, who's really getting in your face when you try to throw the ball. They're just doing a good job, and it's going to be two teams that are both coming off big wins that they both needed, and we're going to run head-on in each other Saturday, and I think it's going to be a good, hard-fought, physical, close game, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Ray Woodard, the head coach of Lamar. Media, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line, and we do ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization prior to asking a question.
Hey, Coach, this is Matt Vines from the Shreveport Times. Both coaches had kind of mentioned, obviously, staying competitive in the first three conference games and then breaking through last week. Do you see similarities in that aspect?
Oh, I do, and then there's no doubt. You turn on the tape and look at Northwest. They're an improved football team from last year. I know being here with our group every day, we're improved, but the conference is just so tough this year that improvement is not enough sometimes because everybody's better. And it's good. I know I can speak for Coach Thomas as well. It's good when you feel like you put in the work and your team's progressed and they've improved for it to finally show up on the school board. And I think both teams got a win that they both needed, and it come at a good time. And, there's a lot of similarities in what we're both going through right now.
And you mentioned the battle on both sides of the line. NSU's offense faced a very good Central Arkansas front, and obviously Coach Thomas talked about Jesse Dixon and y'all's front. Talk about just the battle in the trenches on both sides for each team.
Well, I think both teams, their strength may be their line play. And so there'll be a lot of matchups there that both sides are going to have to win in order to move the ball or keep the other team from moving the ball. And that's what makes for good games. And being a former lineman, I enjoy that. I think it's going to be a good battle up front when both teams are on the field, regardless of offense, defense. I think both teams' line play is to be commended. I like what I see out of their team. I just hope they don't play too well Saturday.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Other questions for Ray Woodard?
Hey, Coach, this is Alex Hickey in Lake Charles. I wanted to ask, I saw that, if that 20 guys start the game that plays in the second half, obviously the team must have got the message to play the way they did in the first half, but talk about the decision to do that, and what were your concerns when you made that decision?
Well, I had a choice to make. I had to decide to maybe sacrifice a win or sacrifice some things in order to keep the discipline and keep rules and integrity intact. And I chose that I was going to do it. I've done it in the past with a player or two, but that large of a number, I was afraid that it could cost us the ball game. But at the end of the day, I decided to do what I thought was best, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did. It energized us. A number of players in the first half that wasn't getting a lot of playing time took it upon themselves to this was their time to show us that they could play, and we really played hard. And And I was very proud of the way we played the first half, with a number of players that hadn't been getting to play. And he could do wonders for us. I think our team handled it right, and I'm very proud it worked out for everybody.
I guess, do you think that helps more serve the lesson you were trying to send there, that those guys stepped up and sort of showed how to do it the right way, I guess?
Well, the thing I wanted to get out of it is I wanted to learn a lesson. And a lot of times when you try to do something like that, it costs you a ball game. We got a great opportunity to learn a lesson and still get a win. And, rules are there in place, and there's going to be consequences if you don't follow those rules. And that's the way life is, So hopefully we learn from this and move on. And it really strengthened us, I think. And I think we come out of this thing with more players that we feel confident back in play. And I like the way it turned out. It always makes you look good when it turns out this way. But I was very concerned. But it was the right thing to do. So at the end of the day, I'm glad that it worked out.
All right, Ray. Appreciate your time today. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Willie, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, joined now by Sam Houston State head coach Willie Fritz. Last week, the Bearcats beat Stephen F. Austin 56-49 down at Reliance Stadium in the Battle of the Piney Woods. And then this week, the Bearcats play host to Nichols. And that game is Saturday at 2 o'clock. The Bearcats are 7-2 overall, 3-1 in conference play. Coach, if you would, talk a little bit about that game down in Houston, and then what you're expecting from the Colonels Saturday.
Well, it was a very exciting game down there. Again, we had a crowd of over 26,000. I think it's just a great situation for both universities and certainly both football programs to have a game down there at Reliance Stadium in Houston. Those people do a great job of taking care of us. Offensively for us, we played very well, especially in the midway through the beginning of the fourth quarter, and really had a good drive at the end of the first half. Brian Bell played one of his better games here at Sam Houston, was very accurate, made a lot of good decisions. Torrance Williams got free and caught a bunch of balls for a bunch of yards for us. Keyshawn Hill had some very special runs. And defensively, we didn't feel good about our last 8 minutes of the game. We didn't close the door like we needed to. A lot of that is because of the explosiveness of Stephen F. Austin, but our corners played very, very well. Buki Sneed, in particular, had a good ball game, and we're just happy to get out of there with the win. Nichols coming up this weekend. Know a lot about Coach Stubbs. He coached with me for a couple of years up at the University of Central Missouri. He's got some more explosive athletes. I'm sure he'd be the first to tell you that. And I'm very impressed with our quarterbacks. And, they both run well, and in particular, number 8 runs very well. And, defensively, they come at you from all different directions. And then special teams, I've always thought they've been one of the most solid teams in our conference as far as the kicking game was concerned. So, we've got to do a great job of preparation this week and really play well this weekend on Senior Day here at Sam Houston.
All right, we'll open it up for questions now for Willie Fritz, the head coach at Sam Houston.
Hey, Coach, it's Ted from the Daily Comment in Thibodeau. How you doing this morning, bro?
Good. Coach Pinato told me to tell you hi, Ted.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Coach. Coach, Nichols defensively, you mentioned they come at all angles, but it's been a struggle for them to stop the run this year. They've given up some enormous amounts. However, for the first time this season, they held an opponent under 100 yards against Lamar last week. When you looked at the film over the course of the last few games, what did they possibly do different against Lamar that gave them that success? What did you see?
Well, I think they did a good job of staying in their gaps, and sometimes when you're all over the place, it's hard to play assignment sound football. And you get one guy who's off, and you get 2 in a gap instead of 1, or guy's incorrect in his technique. It causes problems, and sometimes I think simplifying things all of us like to get up and drop a bunch of stuff, but when everybody's positive about what they're doing, you got a chance of being successful, and I think that might be one of the things they've done just from looking at film in the last couple of weeks compared to earlier in the season.
Gotcha. And they're two quarterbacks. They're very committed to this two quarterback system. Figueroa's been starting the last few games, but Henderson's been coming in the second quarter, and they've been flip flopping in the second half. How difficult? Because they are kind of similar but different. When Henderson broke his leg, that running aspect kind of left with him. But how difficult is that to prepare for two guys that are really going to play?
Well, you just got to be aware of who's in the ball game. Eight's going to run the ball more than the Henderson does, and you just got to be, understand who's in the game. You got to understand what it calls. The players have got to understand it, and the thing that that makes it even more difficult is, Henderson has the ability to run also, and number 8 can also throw it. So it's not like you just totally are, from one extreme to the other with
right.
both of them. So, they're doing a good job of executing their offense, I think, and they both pose a lot of problems.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Other questions for Willie Fritz? Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
JC, are you with us?
I'm here.
All right, joined now by J.C. Harper, the head coach at Stephen F. Austin. Last week, the Lumberjacks lost to Sam Houston 56-49 in Reliant Stadium in the Battle of the Piney Woods. And this week, SFA plays host to McNeese. That game is Saturday at 3 p.m. The Lumberjacks are 3-6 overall, 1-3 in conference play. Coach, talk about your attempt at a comeback Saturday against Sam Houston, and then what you're expecting Saturday against McNeese.
All right. Well, it was a great game, great atmosphere. Just as Coach Fritz was saying, 26,000 people for our home game. It couldn't have been much better. It's just amazing to me the atmosphere playing in Reliant Stadium and playing at the Texans facility, which is first class, and Lone Star Sports, and just a great event, and very excited that we could do that. I can't say enough about Brady Attaway. Unbelievable game. Don't know how he could have played, much. I mean, he's takes a 46 for 505 yards, 5 touchdowns. Great game, great day. Had 3 receivers catch over 100 yards, one receiver catch over 200 yards. Tyler Boyd, 11 receptions for 206 yards. Michael Brooks, 7 receptions for 123 yards, and Aaron Thomas, 5 receptions for 132 yards. And what's really special about Michael Brooks was he also scored touchdowns. So anytime you get 505 yards passing against one of the top defenses in the country in Houston, it's just an amazing day. And rushing, we're getting to where we can run the football, and credit goes to the offensive line. I thought they did a tremendous job of blocking. Gus Johnson really had a really great game, coming back from injury. 152 yards, but 136 net, and they had nearly 800 yards of offense against what I consider, obviously Sam Houston is one of the best teams in the country and always had a great defense, and so it was a great game. Very happy for our efforts. Disappointed in the loss, but very, very happy for our efforts, and brings us to our senior day home game. Got 12 seniors that we're going to honor. A couple of them, obviously, a little more special than others, but they're all special in that they're all been Lumberjacks for a long time. And half of them are going to graduate. If they're graduated, they haven't graduated already. So it'll be a great day for those guys, and we're looking forward to McNeese coming. Obviously, it presents a big challenge for us. very good football team that is very physical on offense and has some very good players on offense, and defensively very sound, play very hard, and the kicking game is always very good. So it's going to be a very, very tough game for us, but we're excited to be back home.
We'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for J.C. Harper at Stephen F. Austin.
Hey, Coach, this is Kevin over to Dak Daly.
Hey, Kevin.
Maybe you got another versatile offense coming in. I know maybe other than southeastern Louisiana, McNeese looks like to be the most versatile because they run it not the same number of yards as they throw it, and they got a quarterback that's real efficient. They got a good back, so I guess maybe talk about the challenge of your D to stop those guys.
Well, I mean, each and every weekend when you play with young people, that it's a challenge, and I thought they improved last week. I know it doesn't maybe show, but I mean, anytime a freshman against a senior, and Torrance Williams a senior, and he had a good game, and going against some young guys, that's going to happen sometimes. But there was a couple plays in there that we played well too, but. Cody Stroud is a lot like Brian Bell, and both those guys are seniors. Brady Attaway is a senior, and those guys play well. That's what's kind of different about Gus. I mean, Gus is a junior, but having a tremendous year, and obviously any balanced offense, it hurts, and I know McNeese wants to be balanced. And last week, I guess they weren't able to be balanced because they got so far behind. But good offense.
Other questions for J.C. Harper? Go ahead, Kevin.
Maybe just talk about, I mean, I know you guys have struggled, on the win and loss column and everything, but your offense seems to just really, be hitting its stride and playing awfully well. And I guess a couple of your injuries are on that side of the ball too. So does that concern you at all, or do you feel like y'all can overcome the loss of Aaron and I think who else? Is your couple of linemen out?
Yeah, I tell you, Kevin, it's been rough. This whole year's been rough. I mean, if it hasn't been injuries, it's been playing freshmen, and that's what happens in football. And really, this is the first time that we've really gone through it like this. And where you get the amount of injuries that we have, and you have to play young people. And we're really fortunate that it hadn't been Brady, and we kind of got a scare last week. He got put up on, and heck, I thought there goes Brady, but with AT is obviously hurt his ankle, and we'll see what happens as the week goes on. It's kind of like Gus, coming back. I don't know, but we'll put 4 receivers out there, and we'll see what happens.
Maybe talk about your morale, Coach. I know y'all guys have brought good games and continue to play hard, but talk about maybe just y'all need 3 to finish 500, and you still have some goals out there, senior game, and you got a home game before you go on the road, and the road's been tough. So maybe there is a lot of factors, surrounding the home game with McNeese as to what you guys want to do.
No, I mean, our problems are we playing with 3 freshmen in the back end, and behind them are freshmen. So it's not like there's any other players. It's just that they're freshmen, and that's where there's some good games, and then there's some bad games, and then at times we have to play some young guys at linebacker position. It kind of depends on injury situation there and moving guys around. It seems like every week we've had to do that. And so then some games, when we haven't had to move anybody around, we play pretty good. And I think that was the case in Montana State. Was that we kind of had everybody healthy at the time and on defense, and it was all together. I mean, it just hasn't been that way all year. It's been up and down and up and down. And so this game against Sam Houston, I mean, it was 2 weeks in a row we had the same guys back there. And so now this weekend it possibly could be, but it possibly could not be. And what's been consistent is offense. We've had the same quarterback back there, the same offensive line. and the same receivers and the same running back, except for Gus did not play against Central Arkansas. And I think that obviously was a big loss, missing Gus against Central Arkansas. I didn't realize it was going to be that big of a loss, but when you see the way he played against Sam Houston, who, we all know how great they are on defense. To have 136 yards of rushing, that's pretty daggone good.
Watching a lot of the game on TV, I saw you had, I think the lineman had to be carted off. How is he doing right now?
Well, I think that's what's so weird about football. Of all the guys that got hurt, he's probably the one that's the best and has the best chance to play. He ended up. It was all, which is what you want to do, is be precautious because you have no idea. But the reason why it was so precautious is because anytime you hit your nose, it doesn't matter what you do, the blood comes out of the nose. And so it doesn't look good. And so it was not a good-looking injury. And so it was very scary looking because it almost looked like he was in a car accident. And so all the precaution was taken, and then as it all ends up, all he has is a broken nose. He didn't even have a concussion. And so, it's great. I'm glad that that's all he's got. And the feeling is that he shouldn't have a problem playing with a broken nose.
And my last thing is, not that there's really any secrets in the Southland, but obviously Lance was with you guys in the spring. Is that an added concern, his familiarity with your personnel?
I think he can watch film. And so, he can watch film, as I'm sure Matt can watch film, and watch and see. I think they can sit there and watch some guys playing really, really hard, and he's probably seeing, what he knew, when he was here, and he was a great asset for our program in spring. But since that time, there's been some new additions to guys, and obviously some guys that aren't a part. We got some freshmen that are true freshmen that are playing in the back end, and so I don't think that there's anything there that that's anything as an advantage or disadvantage. I don't see any way. You'd like to think that, well, maybe offensively, because he's on defense, obviously he knows Brady and he knows those other guys that we play with, but it wasn't. It's not really the same offense that we were running this spring that we're running now.
All right. Anything else for Coach Harper at SFA? Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, y'all have a great day.
You too. We'll have a replay of this call available later today on the Southland Conference Digital Network. Please look for that. We also have the Southland Weekly release available at southland.org. It was also emailed this morning. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. But until next week, have a great day. Thanks.